Hello everybody, hello whoever watches this. I'm doing this for me, I don't care at this point. And after this next full moon that we have in 2 weeks, I will be in school officially for becoming an astrologer. So when I look back years later and see all these videos that I did before my schooling, I might actually cringe and die. I kind of do that already at these videos, but you know, we have to start somewhere, and I think that's really actually pretty perfect for me to say at the beginning of this video about the Gemini New Moon, because we are really in this energy of allowing ourselves to be new and amateur, and allowing us to experiment and allowing us to try new things. And I just want to stop right there, because that's what everybody is saying, right? All these astrologers are like, new, Gemini, because we do have a lot of Gemini happening. Gemini is actually not really that much new. It's kind of more like just changing to variety. So it can be new things, but it doesn't necessarily mean new things. It just means like, maybe in this case specifically, I am feeling the energy of that we, instead of are feeling more new things coming in right now with the new moon, we're more just like chilling. We're kind of just actually resting from everything that we've been through, because yeah, it's been really intense. I don't think I have to even say that, but astrologically that tracks, and we have just really been through it with these transits and with what we've been obviously seeing on the collective world stage as well. It's playing out. You can't make this shit up. So let's look at it and go deeper. With the new things, we're kind of more like maybe thinking about things starting, but we're not. Mars, this is the problem, right? Okay, Mars is getting ready to go into Taurus, so we're really not able to start new things. We also just had Jupiter move into Gemini, so the new things, it's not really just like new things, it's more just like a lot of things, right? And like maybe not knowing what thing to focus on, and not really committing to one thing or another, actually really just kind of being able to fluidly move back and forth between all of these different maybe personalities of ourselves and different hobbies and interests and just all these different things, like social groups, whatever it is. We're just like doing all the things, and so we really have to like watch ourselves on our energy fields. We have to keep our energy hygiene up right now, and we have to just like remember that burnout is real, and that we can't do it all, and that that's okay. And even if we do it all and we feel like we know a lot about a little, we know a little about a lot, maybe we are feeling like we're not really professional at like one thing or another, and maybe attempting to hone in and see what that one thing could be, what that really exciting inner child, like lights up your inner child, and like gets you into that playful mood, right? That like fluid, playful flow state mood, because that's Gemini also. So we're working with what we have, what we've been establishing over the past few years, actually, because of all the different transits. We are actually working with, when Jupiter moved into Gemini, we haven't had Jupiter in Gemini for 12 years. And so that's 2012. That's actually the year I graduated high school and went into college. And from this personal experience and how Jupiter and Gemini is asking us to reframe now 12 years later, is, for me at that point in my life, I was going to school, right? I was going to college for a degree that I kind of was pretty sure about what I wanted to do, and like, just went all in for it. It ended up not working out, and I made some mistakes, and now I have this opportunity 12 years later to go back to school, right? To go to school for being an astrologer, and I get to do it again. I get to take these lessons that I learned then, and I've had 12 years to reflect on, and now I get to apply it now to whatever scenario it is for you. So you know, look at where that's happening in your chart. If you are working with your chart in that way, look at what house that's happening in, the Jupiter in Gemini. Look at where everything's happening in your chart. It's happening at 16 degrees Gemini. This new moon is the real point of making this video. There's a lot going on, and I'm gonna try to not go scattered. I'm doing my best actually to even make this video. I wasn't sure if I was gonna do it or not, but by golly, we're here, we're doing it. So 16 degrees the sun in Gemini, 16 degrees the moon in Gemini, and 16 degrees Venus. Venus is conjunct this new moon. Venus is going through it right now. You don't have to tell me. She just had her cazimi point, which means she was in the heart of the sun. That's what cazimi means. And so that was her full moon point. Every planet has their own cycle of full and new, as well as just like the moon does. So we just had that full moon where it was right next to the sun, burned up by the sun. The sun is giving Venus its light and its knowledge and its steadfastness and its constancy and its just that eternal light, that energy of that eternal consciousness. And it's a masculine energy, right? The sun is typically a masculine energy because of its constancy, and so that is supporting Venus, which is this feminine thing. Anyways, if you want to look at it that way. And so that could also be relevant though too energetically, right? You could look at it literally or you could look at it energetically, because Gemini is the twins. And it's the two aspects of ourselves. It's this angel and our devil on our shoulders. And especially in this scenario, because they're whispering in our ears, it's these inner voices, it's these multiple personalities that we have, these multiple dimensions that we live in, these multiple expressions and ways that we live, and we manifest as this divine being in our bodies. So where I was going with that is Venus just had her cazimi, so she is actually not visible in the sky right now. She goes through this process of transitioning from being the morning star, which she was transitioning last summer, last August, which is around when I starting to track this Venus cycle that we're moving with. And so it's cool to see this now happening. She moved, and I remember talking about it, into being a morning star. And so that morning star version of Venus, there's all these different phases of Venus, right, too. And she was in this version, the morning star version, named Pallas Athena, and she is a war goddess in this manifestation of her. In this new manifestation that she's moving into, that she just, June 4th was the cazimi, just went through this deep, dark moment with the sun. Darkness, right? Because you can't see her. She's gone. She's in the underworld, according to legend. Anyways, but there's light and dark still with the Gemini duality themes. She's transitioning into Aphrodite now. That manifestation is correlated with the evening star, which is what she's going to be. And we will start to see her. She will be creeping up in the sky in this dark feminine. You're right, she's the evening star. She's the goddess of the night. This dark feminine. I'm creeping into your unconsciousness, and then all of a sudden she'll be in the evening sky whenever we can actually see her. Around July 4th, I thought that was really cool that that was falling around that time. That's when we'll first start to see her come back. July 4th obviously being 4th of July, we just call it the 4th of July, Independence Day, in America, in the United States. It'd be cool if anybody from a different country would watch this video. Anyways, just in case, I'm gonna manifest that and talk about it in that way. Anyways, that's what we're doing. Once again, talking about things the way we want them to be. We're manifesting things with our words. We're writing down. Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. We're writing down whatever it is we want to manifest. We're getting specific, right? Mercury is details. We're getting very specific about what it is we want, and we are using our words. We're using our affirmations. We're using our spoken word, written word, whatever it is you want to do, right? I'm doing this right now. This is very Mercury ruled. There's been a lot of people saying that because of all this Mercury energy, it's such a beautiful time to start something like this, to do YouTube, to do whatever it is, speaking, using your voice, right? So social media and all that stuff is very highlighted right now with Gemini. And so how are we talking to ourselves? What are those devils and angels doing in our mind? What can we put a magnifying glass on our minds, on our minds chatter, and on our minds dialogue, our narrative, the stories we tell ourselves, right? Jupiter in Gemini is asking us to pull up this plethora of options of beliefs, right? Jupiter is beliefs. And we have all these options. We have a plethora of options. We can believe whatever we can believe whatever we want. We can believe that gnomes live in the, whatever. And that is so Gemini too, right? Just like off the wall belief systems, off the wall, whatever, like just to be funny, just for laughs, whatever. So we're being asked to look at our belief systems. We're being asked to look at the options, the world of options in front of us, and to really maybe step back and see, have we been limiting our options? Have we been holding on to limiting belief systems? That's really what I think is what we need as a collective personally right now, myself included. And so with all of this getting thrown off too, come back on track. That's so Gemini. Dang it. I love how this works out so well, perfectly every time. Even though I have notes, I feel like I haven't gotten into any of them yet. Let's come back. Yeah, so with the Mars transition into Taurus on Saturday, actually, right now it's in Aries, and it's super stoked in Aries. So whatever you need to get done before now and Saturday, do it now, because the rest of the year Mars is going to be pretty uncomfortable. Yeah, right now Venus is super uncomfortable, and uncomfortable, but like, she's going through this deep transformation. Mars is actually not doing too hot either over there. He is about to be super debilitated in Taurus, and because Taurus is ruled by Venus, the opposite of Mars. But right now we really just need to take care of whatever we need to take care of before the transition into Taurus, because even throughout the rest of the year we have Mars in Cancer, and Mars will be in Leo for like a whole 5 seconds, but yeah, it's not looking too great for like getting stuff done. So that's why I say we're gonna be working with what we have. We're gonna be really, like looking at the seeds that we've been planting over the past years. Like I said, 12 years ago with Jupiter and Gemini, and looking at where we can move forward now. And see, are those seeds growing? Are those projects, how are they doing? Like, what do we do? Because Gemini is so non-committal and so fleeting. We have trouble committing to a project, committing to whatever it is that, we need to get done, whatever our soul really might actually. So that can be frustrating, and that can be unsettling, and we can feel really restless, and we can feel really anxious. We can be overthinking. Good Lord, we can be overthinking. That's just not, doesn't even cover it. Like, that statement doesn't even cover it with what is happening right now in people's minds. And that's why I share this information, because it feels so validating to know that it's not me, it's not my mind, it's actually something that's circulating vibrationally on and off, vibrationally bouncing back and forth from the planets to me, to Earth, to, you know, it's this ping pong, this cosmic ping pong of energy. And not ping pong, what's it called? Pinball. Yeah, that one. I'm like picturing this pinball of the cosmos, like beep, 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 and all of it's coming back, and it reverberates in a certain way, and when it hits different tones, it reverberates back. You know what I'm saying. Anyways, and going off on a tangent here. We are having Venus right now at this new moon, so we could be seeing some new developments in our relationships. We could be falling in love with people's minds. We could be falling in love with an idea, right? We could be really in love with one of these ideas that we had brewing for the last 12 years or whatever. You know, it doesn't even have to be for 12 years. It just is like, let's work with what we have, is really what I'm feeling. Especially, I mean, we have Pluto square the sun. I'm sorry, where are we? Yes. And it's, so Pluto is retrograde, and it is working its way back to Capricorn. We are at 1 degree of Aquarius right now, retrograde. And it is, trine Jupiter and sextile Neptune. Pluto is trine Jupiter. Pluto in Aquarius is trine Jupiter in Gemini. And Pluto in Aquarius is sextile Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune in Pisces is at the 29th degree, which is the last degree of the entire zodiac sign, of the entire zodiac wheel. So Neptune has gone through this whole journey throughout the whole wheel of the zodiac and gathered all this information, which is what we're all really doing right now, because we're not really initiating that much new stuff with the Mars and Aries. We can initiate. With the Mars and Taurus, we're really not initiating that much. With the Jupiter and Gemini, we're really not initiating that much. I keep coming back to that. And then I lost my thing. Again. Right, so we're gathering information, and with this Neptune at this final degree of Pisces, Neptune is this spiritual part of us. It's this underworld, not underworld actually, it's more like watery and underwater, that's what I was trying to say. This dream world, right? These like this like ability to dream, this dream that we might have. God, I'm gonna lose it. We can imagine, right? John Lennon, we can imagine that we're all gonna come together, Pisces, in unity, and we're gonna remember where we all come from, that we all come from this place that we were all together at one point, this unity consciousness. And we need to remember, and that's really like, the 29th degree is huge because it's almost bigger than all these other transits, because it's the last degree of the zodiac wheel. So it is a big, beautiful, spiritual moment for us right now to come together and have this come together moment where I posted this on my story the other day. If anyone's out there as an Adventure Time fan, which if you are, you're so cool, and you watch this, cool, let's hang out. The end of the Adventure Time is they're about to go to war. There's this huge war that's about to happen with everybody, right? That's kind of like where we're at right now collectively at this point. Maybe that's whatever. They are at this point where they're about to start the war, and they drink this nightmare juice have this experience where they go into this dream state where they're basically in this like not trance state, but like they're in this like psychedelic experience together. They enter in this separate realm together, and they're put through these series of psychedelic experiences where they're like face to face with themselves as children, and like face to face with their enemy as when they were children, and like all these different things are happening to rewire these people that went into this situation as enemies, right? And then at the end of the experience, when they come out, they've had this perspective change, right? Gemini. Gemini is the mind, Gemini is perspective, Gemini is the devil's advocate. It's like, let's look at it this way, let's flip it upside down and look at it this way. And so they come out and they have this new perspective, and it changes everything, and they call off the war. They call off the war, but chaos still ensues, because what happened and what caused everything to lead up to where they got to that point where they were about to come into war, that's like this whirlpool of energy, of momentum, right? That's been created to lead up to this war, this whirlpool of energy that once we pulled away and said, whoa, stop, we gotta stop. Didn't matter. Didn't matter that we got out the pool. The whirlpool still kept going. Have you ever done that when you do the pool? You know, you did that when you were a kid in the pool. When you do the pool, you get in and you start to walk around with your friends, and you just walk in the same direction for a long time, and you create this whirlpool, right? When you let your feet off the ground, you still are carried by this momentum of the whirlpool that you created. You created that. We all created it. We all created it. We all created it. We're all responsible for the state of where we are. We've all collectively taken part in isolating ourselves away from vulnerability and from compassion, and from we've all been guilty of it. We've all taken part somewhere, somehow, in this process of separation, right? We want to come back into unity. That's Gemini. We separate and we come back together. The twins, they're twins. They're from the same egg, right? Twins are from the same egg, depending, I guess, it's fraternal or not. And anyways, so they're from the same womb and from the same birthing process, and but they're different. And they were together in the beginning, and now they're separate as beings. And then when we all die, we come back together as well. So it's all this, what Gemini represents and what it is for us on the journey of the zodiac wheel, is this process of feeling separate, coming back together, feeling separate, coming back together. Changing, being able to change, being able to be okay with that process of separate. And I've seen a lot of deaths happening lately. Maybe that is the Pluto aspects. But so we have them, but they're trine and sextile, which I believe is, we've been going through a lot of loss. Yes, I'm not trying to take away from that, and it's painful, and it fucking sucks. It sucks so much. God, it sucks. Anyways, it's for the best. We know it's for the best. We know it's helping us. We know, I'm looking at my notes, I'm pointing out the notes. We know that these things that we're letting go of and that are being removed from our lives, we're cutting ties, right? Gemini is cutting and severing and separating. Well, Saturn is that too, but anyways, we also have Saturn, Saturn square the sun and everything right now. So Saturn in Pisces, again, with this, more Pisces, more cut out what isn't, bringing us back into unity. That's it right there. Cut anything out and take anything out of your stimuli, right? We can be so overstimulated right now. Gemini is information. It is so much information. It is like, it's pretty much like useless information too, actually. Like, on the spectrum of Gemini and Sagittarius, we have Gemini having a lot of information, knows about a lot of things, but only knows a little bit, really. And then we have Sagittarius, which is the teacher, the healer, the professional, the you know, the healed one, and the shaman, and the one who has become a master. That's the word I was looking for, was master. So really, we just need to lean into what it is that we are being asked to let go of, Saturn, and what we're being asked to have more discipline around, Saturn, because we're not going to get to our dreams, Neptune in Pisces. We're not going to get there unless we do the hard work, Saturn. We are not going to just be able to do a handstand one day. We have to do the crunches. We have to do the weightlifting. We have to do the practicing. We have to do the prep. We have to do it. And we have to sweat, and we have to grit our teeth, and, you know, whatever. Hopefully we're having a fun time training with. That's my personal scenario here that I feel I'm working with, one of them at least. And so yeah, just we're being asked to do the hard work. We're being asked to walk the walk. We are being asked to really look at our words. Gemini also rules the hands, 2 hands, 2 lungs as well. Gemini is the Magician card in the tarot. It's also associated with the Lover's card. I think that's more what people think of when they think of Gemini. I'm pretty sure both of them are associated with Gemini, because I think the Magician is Mercury. So, and obviously that's this energy of being able to use your magic and your powers to create the reality that you want. Your powers and your magic being your words, being your vibration, right? Our breath, that Gemini air, that lightness of breath. Can we invite that lightness of air, that lightness and joy? That breath of joy is probably going to be something everybody needs to do right now. If you guys don't know what that is, let me just show you really quick. If you don't know it, why not? A cool opportunity to show you. It's a 3-part inhale. Inhale first, arms forward. Inhale, arms out. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms to the floor. Let it go. Inhale. And it floods your brain with happy chemicals. And that's why it's called Breath of Joy. Anyways, sorry guys. I'm at my cousin's house. I'm working with my different scene here. But so anyways, Breath of Joy would be really, really beneficial for, I think, everybody right now, because personally I've been down bad. I don't know about everybody else, but we're having these the square to Saturn is also probably bringing us some hard lessons around Venus. Venus is definitely going through it right now, so she could be giving us some really tough lessons in self-worth and value, in our jobs, in our way we work with money, anything that involves exchanging of energy, and that could include currency. It could include our close relationships, because Gemini is like our close-knit community, our you know, who we choose to hang out with, and who we like, our chosen family, our community. our mirrors, right? The twins is also representing of the reflection of each other, and how relationships can be this reflection of each other, and it can reflect back to you the parts of yourself that you have actively kept hidden from your psyche. That's called your shadow. That's called your subconscious. That's called your unconscious. And we are privileged to work in relationship and to see those parts of ourselves. And maybe that's the Saturn lesson that we're learning right now, and that's what has been so difficult and we're down bad over, is how we have been shown ourselves and shown our parts of ourselves that we don't want to look at, and parts of ourselves that we have allowed to sit on the back burner and start to fester and get ugly and get to the point where they are, let's call you out, right? Let's call it out. I've seen enough of that. We need to talk about that. And you see that reflection and you are shown, and it's like, damn, you had to tell it to me like that, Mercury and Gemini. No, we are getting some harsh truths right now that are pretty uncomfortable. And you know what? That is also for our highest good. Yeah. Doesn't mean it doesn't suck. But, so, we've been asked to let go of a lot. We've been going through some difficult lessons. We've been going through some jumping of timelines, really just like elevating though. And I've been feeling that even through all the intense grief and all the changes and all of it. It has really just been this elevating experience. So this is what I wrote about it. And this is also because of Neptune and Pisces, I believe, is why this experience is being felt so deeply right now for a lot of us, not just me. And I'm going to try to articulate it. Is the Neptune and Pisces at 29 degrees is asking us to come into more oneness through the 5D realms. Enter into that state by leaving the 3D behind, remembering our unity consciousness. And by that, I mean, forget everything you know about the 3D. Forget everything you know about whoever that person is that you're pointing the finger at. Forget about their body, forget about their gender, forget about their location, forget about their political status, forget about their everything. Wipe it all away. And can you come into that unity consciousness? Please don't come into it with fists. Can we come into this unity consciousness through that, through the 5D, and then anchor that into the 3D? Can we go up to that higher space that Pluto and Aquarius at 1 degree, the retrograding right now, doing all these, this trine, this sextile, doing all these things, bringing it in with a beautiful harmonious double aspect there, taking us up to that higher perspective in space, Aquarius, taking us up higher so that we can see that new perspective, that Gemini, flip it upside down. What if we all just shrugged it off? Like, what if all the pain and sorrow and torture and horrific brutality and literal nightmare-ish reality that we've been subjected to and being forced to witness, and you know, we're not forced to witness, you know, like, it's a privilege to be able to witness and see what's really happening, and to have this access to these technologies that give us the truth, right? There's no way of hiding the truth. If you are filming something that's happening in front of you, that's the truth of what's happening, right? And so there's no way to hide the truth anymore. And can we take that other perspective that we're being given right now, and as crazy as that seems, right? To just be able to shrug it off, to forgive Pisces, Neptune and Saturn in Pisces, to forgive and to look back on the past and to say, I forgive you. I release you from the pain that I'm feeling still. Who's really hurting here? If you're not gonna forgive, then you're the one who's gonna hurt forever if you don't work towards forgiving. And forgiveness is the hardest thing. Forgiveness is really, really hard. And but that's what we're being asked to do, is to literally just like be light, like Gemini, like allow it to just be light, allow it to just like be like this death process of taking off an old shoe, right? That's what Ram Dass says. It's like this process of like let go of the old baggage that's been weighing you down, and just let it go, and let's move forward, maybe with a song. Like Gemini, the singing, like I don't know, like Taurus rules the throat chakra, but like Gemini feels like this like musical, like it feels like this like cartoonish, like, you know, almost satirical, like over exaggerated, over enthusiastic. And you know, that's the spectrum of Gemini and Sagittarius. They both have that energy of like this cartoonish, like over exaggerated optimism, and probably to a detriment of like you're annoying me with your like optimism. Like, can we get real for a second and really look at what's like this pain? Can we actually look at this pain? Right now, we've done a lot of that. We've done a lot of looking at the pain. Mars Chiron is almost over. Mars Chiron conjunction is almost over, so we're doing all this work around our wound. We're almost at the point where Mars is going to move on, right? And be out of conjunction. We're still going to have Chiron in Aries, don't worry. But we are going to have this other perspective of Mars where he moves into Taurus, and our action-oriented energy, our Mars energy, is going to have this chance to rest. And as uncomfortable as Mars is in the sign of Taurus, it's gonna have this chance to slow down, and it's not gonna want to slow down necessarily, but it is gonna have this chance to slow down and to take baby steps and take like methodical steps, and like more calculated steps. I don't know if I want to say the word calculated because that's more Mercury. More decisions made from a place of self-worth and value, because Taurus is at taking action from this new place of self-worth. And Venus just went through this whole journey with her own self-worth. She's coming back now. It's like she just got out of surgery, is what another one of my astrologers put it as. We have just gone through these cuttings, right? These like severings, this surgery. And now we're like, okay, we're in our hospital bed, we're recovering, and we're getting used to, this is what I wrote, we've been leaving behind so much, and so we need time to adjust to this new healed scenario, this new healed version of ourselves, this new timeline where we may have just been through a lot. Our nervous system is resetting, hopefully, because right now it's probably pretty prone to I don't want to put that on anybody. It's probably prone to want to overthink and to be overstimulated right now, and to So that's a call to turn inward and to take silence, right? Gemini can be this over sharing, over communicating. Just take a step back and take into silence, maybe. What does the silence have to say? What does the silence have to say? Because when we don't listen to the silence and we don't take time to listen to the silence will get louder and it will start to haunt us and keep us awake at night, because that's it's especially after last night. I'm recording this on the 5th, and we had a Neptune square, I think, last night. So that was what that we had something with Neptune. I'm not gonna pretend to know that one because I didn't make a note about it, but we definitely had some other Neptune stuff with our dreams and with sleep and with trouble. Squaring is trouble, and not trouble, but squaring can be challenging. Squares is challenging. And so, yeah. If our minds have been weighed down, lighten the load. The time has come to lighten the load. How do we do that? Meditation, breath work. I really, really, really think breath work is one of the most powerful tools available to us. Period. Not just because it's relevant and it's an air thing with Gemini. It is actually just one of the most. It'll light you up. If you haven't done it, here's your tip to try some pranayama, some beautiful, beautiful breath work. Yeah, and for the new moon, maybe even like a rebirthing session or like a deep somatic breath work session where you go through this literal new moon, new birth, rebirth process through this breath journey. It's so powerful. You breathe for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is. You breathe in a certain way for an hour. And in these processes, it is just like this deep release. And you feel your body and you feel your energy field in a way that is not normally accessible when you go into those states. Very, 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 very beneficial to gather information in that state. Very helpful and beneficial to gather information in trance states, in meditation states, in astral projection, in points where you maybe want to ask right before you go to bed for assistance from your guides to help you remember your dreams so that you can work with your dreams more intimately in that way. Maybe drinking some Blue Lotus, maybe just doing any other types of like rituals before bed that would help you to create this more meaningful and more passive, right? Like working with your dreams is pretty passive. All you were doing is like sleeping. You know, you ask your guides and you maybe do a little something before you go to bed, but you go to bed and it's sleeping, and then you wake up and then you just write your dream down and, you know, work with it from there, depending on how deep you want to go with it. And so that's pretty cool, right? Because we can do that work in this weirdly restful and passive state, in this state that we normally don't perceive work in. We don't really think of it as like, okay, we're gonna go do some dream work now. Like, you know, maybe not really something we typically do, which is what Gemini loves too. It loves like just doing something like that, something you don't normally do, shaking it up, changing it up a little bit. You know, and maybe that's what it takes for us to get out of the funk that we've been in, to get out of these freaking pub-a-dubs, you know, because it's been, yeah. It's been rough, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, I'm proud of me, I'm proud of all of us for making it through. Cardinal just flew right over my head. 2 of them. Beautiful cardinal couple. Are those 2 males? No, that's a female. Anyways. Maybe that means something to somebody. I feel like every time I've been doing this now, there's been some kind of cool little animal thing. Anyways, I thought that I was gonna start, when I went into this, I thought I was gonna be short and sweet, but in true Gemini fashion, I talked about a lot. I hope I talked about the important things though. Let me check my notes and make sure. I think I did go over everything though. Yeah, we want to watch our words, because Gemini can be so like I said, with the harsh truth, like let's just be nice, guys. Like, I get it. There's a lot of cognitive dissonance. It's really freaking frustrating when we look at the mindsets of certain people, because we're really shining a light on like mindsets and like just the way people think, and like, just whoa, why, how could you think that way? How could you not see it my way? Like, but let's like look at those other perspectives. Let's look at them and let's see if there is a way to make it all coexist. Somehow, some way, there has to be. Technically, we're already doing it. I mean, we're doing it right now. Yes, there's friction. There's lots of friction. There's lots of differing opinions. There's lots of polarity. That's Gemini. Lots of duality. That's the reality we live in, though. So maybe we need to check where we are in denial of that duality reality. And maybe we can look at where we've been spiritually bypassing around, let's come to, you know, unity consciousness. Obviously we want that. Obviously we want that so that we can heal and we can repair what damage has been done, because there's been so much damage done. But not all of us are going to come into unity consciousness. Not all of us are going to be willing to look at our shadow in order to liberate ourselves from it, from these cycles that keep us stuck. Not everybody came here to do that. Not everybody did. And so that will continue to be our reality. Our duality reality. But all we can do is stay the course. Stay our course. Live our authentic truth, right? We just had this full moon in Sagittarius where we maybe were learning a lot more about our own truth. So we're living our authentic truth, and we are looking objectively. Objectively, right? We're taking a step back and looking without bias at our belief systems and at our mindsets. And now it's starting to rain. I'm gonna go inside and wrap this up. And we're being open to change, and we're being open to shaking off the old baggage and the old, just like the weight. Shake it off, and oh God, just let yourself start over. Let yourself feel pleasure, feel joy, and play a little bit, right? Find that inner child and give it what it needs. Give it that good energy of what it needs. We're working our way into a lot of Cancer energy coming up soon, so that's going to be our next couple weeks theme. So get ready to get into the self-care. We're coming into Cancer energy, that self-care energy, that watery energy. So let's let it cleanse us. Let's let it bring in this clean, new level of self-love and value. Venus, full moon, new values, new Venus, new empowered version of Aphrodite, who's more soft. She's moving from this war goddess into this Aphrodite version where she is so receptive and dark and powerful and feminine and embodied in all the most beautiful and wonderful Venusian energies. So we're moving into that, and that's the water sign of Cancer, the mother, feminine, fertile sign. So that's what we're looking forward to coming up in the next couple weeks, so we can already start to look at where we need to implement some self-care in order to help us to balance out this Gemini anxious, overthinking energy. So I did have a few things I wanted to add really quick. It is still like drizzling. It's barely raining though, it's fine. I wanted to just like point out the archetype of Gemini a little bit more because I feel like I skipped over that part and just like mentioned it here and there. But the archetype of Gemini is literally the trickster. It's Mercury. Mercury was one of the highest gods that was respected in Olympus, under Jupiter. It was the messenger for the gods, and so Jupiter is Zeus. We have a powerful planet. This planet, Mercury, deals with our daily habits. It deals with our bodies. It deals with our minds. It deals with our ability to change and our ability to address details accurately. And that's why Jupiter and Gemini doesn't really vibe that well, because Jupiter is so big that it doesn't mesh well with Gemini. And I think I mentioned that in the last video that I did, but Jupiter in Gemini is debilitated because it's the giant planet versus the smallest planet, right? Because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the smallest planet. So Gemini is the twins, Castor, and what's the other one? Pollock, I think is his name. And so one of them was immortal, one of them was not. And so we look at the archetype as this separation of self, this divine self, and this mortal self, this shadow and light, right? The light and the dark. This maybe, what's his name? Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type situation. Hopefully not, because that would be not good. But maybe we're being asked to look a little bit closer at those types of energies and see if maybe there's any type of situation like that playing out in our lives that we could bring more balance to. And so Gemini is the trickster. Gemini is gonna play mind games. Gemini is here for a good time, not here for a long time. Really, it's more about having fun and learning along the way. And like, yes, it's pursuing knowledge, but it's more in the pursuit of fun and variety, more in the pursuit of experience. So, and connection. Gemini is very much because it's the twins and it's two people, it can be very much related to relationships, and it can be very much related to siblings, especially since it's the twins. And it is, you know, overthinking. It can be very two-faced. It can switch on the dime where you thought it was about to do one thing, then it's gonna change its mind right on the dime, and turns out actually now it's this. And that can be a little ungrounded and unsettling, and can bring imbalance to people around you and in you. The last thing I really just want to say about Gemini is there's this ability to connect with your community and heal in your reflection with your relationships. Like I was saying before, it's very encouraged for us to turn to our community and to value our friendships, really, to look at our relationships, our close relationships, and see who's really there for us, who isn't, and leave those ones behind, right? So let's just be discerning, and let's not let this Neptune in Pisces, because there's a shadow side to that, the flip side of the unity and the forgiveness is the illusion and being unable to hold boundaries, being unable to be discerning about where things need to be separate or where things need to be, you know, things can just get foggy and blurred, all the lines get blurred. So we just need to be, you know, using discernment, and Gemini and Mercury can be impulsive, and Mars and Aries can be impulsive. So we just want to, again, work with what we have, be discerning. Any seeds that are planted, any new developments with Venus, really just we need to like keep a close eye on and keep in our awareness that Venus is just going through this transformation and just coming out of it. So we are like kind of relearning how to walk right now after we've like had this accident where we, you know, we could have, you know, had that surgery where we had all these different things happen, and we're coming out of surgery and we're in the healing process now. And when we come out of that process, we're going to be a different person. So it's amazing, and we need to be able to learn how to hold to those new standards and to remember our new found value, self-worth and value, and hold to that boundary and take our ability to love and connect and merge souls with another and remember unity consciousness to a new level. So I hope that we all can navigate these Mercury energies with patience and with understanding for ourselves and compassion and forgiveness for ourselves first and foremost. That's going to be the only way we can forgive others, is if we really go and forgive ourselves and remember that our relationship to ourselves and our ability to turn towards our own shadow and come into integration with our own shadow self and retrieve those parts of our soul retrieval, and defragment the soul because it's been fragmented, and we're bringing those pieces back into wholeness, so into that unity. So that's the biggest ask here. So everyone have a happy new moon in Gemini, and I will see you in the next one. Much love.